Hello everyone, welcome back again. Today we will going to see how we can work on the data tables. So let's start with the data table. You have to search here data table. We have different actions here for data table. Now we will start from assign. Now this data table assign is very helpful. Let's assume you want to create a schema. You don't want to create an Excel file, but you want that okay, that schema should be present itself in the code, so you can use this particular activity. Now how we can create a table from here? So you click edit table. Now the row is 1 and the column is 1. Now we cannot make a 0 here. Row, it should always be a 1 here. Now the column, let me make it 2 and then click on the update. On clicking this, you can provide a column name. The column type can be string, number, date, time, and boolean. I'm selecting string. Then I'll take a age and let me select a number here. Okay. If you want to increase or decrease the column, you can do that. Again, you have to click on the update button accordingly. Okay. Now let me click on the apply button for now. Now I have to store this edit data table that I have created here into some variable. So for that, what I have to do, I'm going to click on the create variable and then the type will be table here. Now whosoever is working in UiPath, the type is always a data table, right? But here it's a table. Again, this table is just similar to data table. It have rows and columns. Now let me give dt input. Okay, now it is created. Now let's go to the different activities. Change column type. If you want to change a column type in the sense, let's assume the type of column is string here, but I want to change it to the integer. The column type here is number. I want to change this to string. I can do that. So for that you have to use change column type, where you have to use the table name, which is dt input. Let me delete this variable dt data from here. It is not required. You have to select your data table, which is dt input, and either you give a name or index. It's all up to you. If you want to give a name, then you can give a name as age, and I want that this name column should be converted to the string. Now I will select again a dt input. Now the type has changed. In this way you can change the type of any column accordingly. Now let's move to the next one, which is clear content. If you want to clear a data table, let's assume you are doing something here and then you want to clear out the table and then you want to add some new data to that table. So for that you can use a clear content in this way. Now if I put a breakpoint, you know it already how to put it. You click on three dots, enable breakpoint, and then you can click on the debugger. We can see it what is the data in this dt input. Let's start debugging this. Okay, let me add this variable. So to add this you have to click on this and then select your variable. For that you want to check the values. So for now, if you see data table, this is the table I have used. This is the column. We don't have any values. So for now, let me put some values to this. Current and the age is 20. Apply. Now let me debug it again. Now if you see here, when you click on this table, it have a data, right? Now let's move further. Now you see the data table is empty. Just for better clarity, what we can do, as it is just stopping after this action, let me put some message box. And then I'll put a breakpoint here because I want this activity to be executed. So for now what is happening, it is just stopped here and it just come here and it is not passing this activity, so that's why the value you cannot see it at runtime. So now when the bot stops here, then we can see it. Okay, the value is clear out. So I'll put two breakpoint here, one here when there is a value and one here when it is clear out. Sorry, I have to debug it. Let me debug it again. Let's click on the start debugging. Okay, now let me step over. Now let's see the value. It have the value. Let me do step into again. Now let me click on. Now it comes here, right? You see the table is 0 into 2, means it is not having any value right now. Okay, so this is helpful to clear out the data table in somehow. Now let's move to the next part, which is data. Let me search for data table. Now this is something which, if you want to get a number of columns, let me remove this for now. This is something which will give you a number of columns. How many number of columns? Select non-empty columns. If there are some empty columns there, you can also remove this by selecting this. Now select total number of columns. How many total number of columns it is have. So what I'll do, I'll create a new variable naming int column number. Okay, now I will going to pass this here just to show the result. So what we have given, int column number, and as this is a number, I have to convert it to dot to string. So there are two columns, it have to show the result as 2. So which is perfect again. Now you can delete a column. If you want to delete any column, the same thing. You have to choose a table here and you have to give the column name which you want to delete. Also you can delete on the basis of index also. So this is pretty simple. I'm not explaining this. We can delete a row also if you want to delete a row. Yes. So you have to select again a data table and we have to pass on the specific row number. So always remember the index number starts with 0. So 0 means the first row. So if you want to delete a specific row, you can provide a number here. Now let's see the insert column. Now this insert column, we can insert a new column. If you want to add a column at first index or last index, or if you want to add on in a specific in between, if you want to add, so you can do that. So I want to insert a column. You have to specify the name, basically column name. For example, I want to insert a new column as department and the type is string. So let's see if it is basically adding or not, adding a new column. I'll debug this just to see at runtime. Now you see 1 into 3, that means the column is added in the end. So if you have used column need to be added at the first position, you can add that also. So you have to, if you want to add a specific column to an existing data table, you have to specify the name here, the table, the destination table, where you want to add a column, where you want to add it, first index, last index, or specific index means in between. If you want to add, you can specify. Again, if you select this, always remember the index number starts from 0 always. The first row or the first column has index 0. So if you want to add a new column, just be remember. Let's assume if you want to add something, let me give 1 here. 0 means it will add to the first. Now if 1 I'm giving, that means in the second position it will going to add a column. Let me add this to the second position. Okay, I'm debugging it as it is more easy to understand at runtime how it is happening. Now you see department is just added after this name on the first index. Now in this way you can add a specific column. So now let me stop this. Okay, hope this is clear. Now there is one more action here, from source table. Now if you have another data table, for now I don't have, but if you have another data table and you want to insert a specific that column to your destination, then you can use this option. But again, if you want to insert some column into the same table, then you go with the custom column in that case. Okay, now moving to the next action. Insert row is something, if you want to insert a specific row on a specific index, you have to select your table name, and again the row record name you can specify here. Now this is very important. If you want to add specific row, you should have the row record name. Now what is this row record name? Row record name is nothing but a row, a whole row. Now let's assume I want to add a new row at a last position, and my row record name is uh, let me specify the record dr data row record. Now this record is similar thing in UiPath, which is also known as data row. Here we call it record and there we call it data row. After that you can add the schema also. Like for me the column is name and age. Okay, this is string and this is number. If I want to give some value here, I can give that also. Let me give Rahul 20 and then click on create. I'm deleting this. So far we have this table which have two columns, and here I'm going to add one more record. So here if you see I have Karan, and at runtime it should add one more record which is in dr records. Now what I will do, I'll going to debug this just to check it at runtime. Now let me watch this. If you see at runtime it just added it. So basically this is working as a data row here, we can say that. Now you are thinking that okay, at actual we cannot specify a value here, right? In dr records we cannot specify a value, it might be coming at a runtime. Then what to do in that case? What you will do, just type here record. Now you see record is nothing, the same thing that we are passing here. It have a different action, like if you want to add a column to a record, if you want to assign something, if you want to delete a column to the record, update a column. So if you want to update something at runtime, how you will do it? Because for now I have done hard coding, right? If you go to this dr record, so if you see here, I have already hard coded these things. So what I'll do, I'll remove this. I'll keep this schema here. Okay, let me remove this schema for now, just to see what will happen in that case. Then I will type an action as a record, and you see here update column, just drag drop this update column. Now let me choose a dr record here. Column name is my name, first column. The value I want to give as Rahul. I want that this value should be assigned to this dr record. Now let me update this. Same thing I will do for age. Value is 30. Let me assign it. Now if you see in the variables in dr records, it's empty right now. Default value is empty. Now what will happen if I'm going to run this? Let's see. Now you see it is giving me error saying, okay, cannot find the specified columns name details. So for that, what I will do, if you find this error, you go to your dr record, and here I am going to add a schema that my first column is name and my second column is age, which is a number. Then apply. Now if I run this, now I have already specified into the data row that okay, these are the two columns that have to work. Now if I run this, type provided in source. Okay, let me see the type here. The type provided here is number, is string, and let me go and check here. So this is string. Here I have made a mistake. Okay, wait. Something. Let me remove this for now. I think this is the extra action I have placed here. Let me check it. So if you see this age is number, I have to specify the type same. So when I'm passing a value in update column, then I have to specify the exact type. The type should be same at all the places, otherwise it will throw an exception. Let's see it will run or not. Now it came here and stopped, so that means it ran successfully. Let's see the result. Okay, it has added the Rahul, but you see in age it has added a 0, maybe because we have not provided the value. Let's see. That's correct, because we have not specified the value here. Now once we specify the value and run it again, we can see the result now. Okay, now let's see the result. Now it have this Rahul and 20 here. So at runtime also, if you want to add a specific value, then you can add that. Okay, I hope this is clear, and this is very helpful. This is very helpful while adding a new data to the existing data table. Now when we do Amazon use case, once we completed this data table and some more actions, then we go with the Amazon use case. There it is very helpful. Okay, let's move to the next part. Okay, now let's see the join. If you want to join a two specific tables, you can join it. For now I have one only. Now enter the column name for first table and the second table. So join, we know it like join. When we join two different data table, there should be a common column. So the common column for two data table we have to specify here, and then we can select a type if you want: inner join, left join, right join, outer. I'm not going to cover it now for this. Okay, I will going to take a separate session for join and merge, just with for means I want to explain it from the use cases. That will be much more easy to understand. But for now, this is something which we can merge the two data table. If we know that the schema is same for both, we can merge the both data tables and store it into the some other or in the same also. It all up to you. We're going to capture this. Don't worry, we'll capture join and merge in a different video. Just for now, let's understand quickly what are these activities. Now this remove duplicate rows will going to remove a duplicate rows from your data table. Just select your data table here and that's it. It will going to remove the duplicates rows. Okay, now get number of rows. If you want to get the number of rows, again you have to select your data table. Okay, total number of rows, how many total number of rows are there, then you can assign into the in some variable which is int, which you need to create as an integer. This is just similar to what we have done in column. Just to check, okay, what is the count of the column, we have assigned this number. Now for to get the total number of rows, similar way you have to create a variable and then you can pass it into the message box. Same thing. If you want to search for a specific value in a data table, you can use this section. If you want to set a value to a single cell, you can use this section straightforward. Now set value to a single cell means if you want to update a particular cell value, okay, at runtime, then you can use this particular set value for single cell. Sorting, if you want to do a sorting in ascending and descending order, you can use this one. If you want to write this data table to some file, you can use this section, write to data table, which is straightforward. You can specify this data input and then the file name. Now these are some of the actions. You can explore it from your own because these are pretty simple to use. It again, you have to use the same thing. You have to basically specify the data table, you have to specify the column names. Okay, you have to specify somewhere the row index, and you have to store the value. So the action that I have described here in this video is very helpful because we're going to create one use case where we will going to apply some of the actions from here itself. I hope you enjoyed my video and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thanks everyone.